So, last year I decided to make some schedule predictions. This year I'm going to do the same thing and predict my 2022 NASCAR schedule. Let's jump into today's video. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, please subscribe. If you are new, consider liking and consider sharing this with someone else you might like. Last year, my top viewed video was my schedule predictions. It got over 300 views. I was very proud of that, even though it was one of my worst videos I ever produced on this YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to do another shot at a schedule predictions, and today I'm going to this schedule predictions. Let's start right now. Let's get into the prediction and let's start with the Clash. I think the Clash will be ran at the Daytona Road Course again next season. With the schedule, there's not many spots for new places to jump into the schedule. I mean, the Clash did provide good racing. The Daytona Road Course provided an okay race. You know, I'm not 100% in for having the Clash at the road course. I think the Clash should be on the big Daytona. I don't like it being on the road course, but it provided a good finish there. And then Christopher Bell won his first ever race in the second one. So, you know, they have a decent racing product, but I just don't like road courses, so it's tough for me to even, you know, say. So I think it will be there at the Clash because I don't think they'll be able to NASCAR. Remember, these predictions are going straight off what I think NASCAR will do, not what if I was the schedule guy, what I would do. No, this is what NASCAR would do. The Daytona 500 will be the first race of the regular season. That is guaranteed. They've already announced that. But here's where I shake things up. I think Homestead, of course, will be the second race this season instead of having the Daytona Road Course. I think they'll go straight to Homestead to continue that Florida thing. And the reason I think they'll continue the Florida thing is this. Because of, you know, how they did it last year is they wanted to keep many fans in Florida. You know, there's many races. You have 2 races in Florida. You could get a lot of fans that might even just travel down there for a week to watch these 2 races. So that is why I think they will continue to do that. Las Vegas Motor Speedway, I think, will kick off our amazing run at the West Coast Swing. Then I think Auto Club will make its return in the final race at Auto Club on that surface. Auto Club postponed their reconfiguration of the racetrack to a short track. They postponed that, so right now we're looking at Auto Club as a big racetrack. It's final Auto Club weekend. And then Phoenix, of course, will get its first of 2 dates. Then I think after Phoenix, we'll go to Atlanta and then brand new Atlanta racetrack to see how that goes. And then from there, we'll go to Bristol Dirt. Martinsville will also jump in after Bristol Dirt. That's also kind of basically the same. You know, you're going to notice throughout these schedule predictions that many of my predictions are the same. I suspect that NASCAR will keep the schedule very similar. They think they found something that NASCAR really likes. Now, this first half of the season, I think, is very nice. It's very well done. You know, Martinsville and then Richmond, you know, 2 short tracks after each other, I think is great. Then we go to Talladega for a race weekend. I think then after Talladega, we'll head over to Kansas Motor Speedway, and this is where I did something a little different. So after Kansas, I predict we'll head to the Chicago Street Course for the 12th race of the regular season, and that will, of course, replace the first of 2 dates for Darlington. I know Darlington got 2 dates this year, but the racing at Darlington isn't really that good. I mean, it is alright, and I love the throwback weekend, and that really adds to the racing. But the first race this year that we had at Darlington wasn't great. It was really a hit the brakes, I believe, that race was at Darlington. So, you know, throwback weekend is awesome, and having it in the sprint is different, but I really rather have it during the Southern 500. That's just the only reason I would have it. But I think that Darlington, even though it just got its second date, I think it's going to lose its second date. And I think that it's going to be replaced by the Chicago Street Course, which is going to provide a lot of fans, a lot of money for NASCAR, a totally different environment, and it also keeps for what NASCAR wants. NASCAR wants a lot of this, let's continue to get road courses, road course, road course, road course. Well, this is a street course, but street courses are road courses in the same sense, so that will make NASCAR want to do that. Now, there's many other places that a street course could go to. My prediction is Chicago, but you never know. It could go to a track like they're saying Denver or Las Vegas. It's not a track, a city like Denver or Las Vegas. There's a lot of planning that goes out on this, but NASCAR seems very close, and with iRacing going to Chicago, I think the Chicago Street Course will replace the first of 2 Darlington dates. We'll see, but I think that is something that completely can happen with the fact that iRacing during their Pro Invitational went to Chicago Street Course, and iRacing's, of course, the one that's doing the Atlanta reprofile. So I think that this is a key sign that NASCAR wants to head to Chicago Street Course. There's a lot of deals that need to be made before that can happen, but I think it will happen, and I think it will replace the first Darlington date. Dover will follow Chicago, I think, and then COTA. This is up in the air. Will COTA return? Because Speedway Motorsports, of course, has to pay a lot of money to get to COTA, but COTA provided a not great race. It was the road course configuration, not a great race, but an okay race, a pretty decent race to say the least. And it wasn't in the rain, so the fans also came out to Texas at COTA. So let's do it. Let's get out there and let's do another race at COTA. I like that. Then we go to Charlotte for the Coke 600, and then I believe Sonoma will also come back to the schedule. Again, not great racing at Sonoma, but it's one of the original road courses. I think it comes back next season. I think the All-Star race next year will be at Texas again. So if COTA comes back, of course the All-Star race will go to Texas because, Texas said, we still want 2 dates. We want the All-Star race. I think it will, Texas Motor Speedway also is going to be Texas Motor Speedway is going to be under new management next season as well, so that's something to watch to see what happens there. Then I think Nashville makes its triumphant return to replace, just to come back. Is this going to be a permanent thing? That's the question for many NASCAR fans right now. Is Nashville Super Speedway going to be a permanent thing, or is it kind of just going to be there? I think Nashville Super Speedway could be a permanent part of NASCAR. It all depends on a lot of factors, but I think it could be a permanent place. It should have a permanent place in NASCAR, so we'll see. Then I think the Pocono doubleheader will return. I kept the Pocono doubleheader here because there was a lot of tickets sold. There was a lot of fans sold, and the race in action was very good. Now, if they're going to keep Road America, which the race in action wasn't very good, but the fans were in the stands as the 4th of July weekend, I think you have a very good argument to keep Pocono. Now, the Pocono racing isn't always good, but it's turned a corner these last few years to actually have decent racing. So, look, this is what I think. I think that Pocono, even though doesn't have the best racing year after year, it's still a place that fans want to come into. And last year, the fuel mileage race returning, if that can happen again, if we get another fuel mileage race, Pocono has a awesome spot of 2 races, one on other weekend. If Pocono doesn't get a doubleheader, I think a track does need to get a doubleheader, because a doubleheader in NASCAR is a key part. That's something that many fans can look forward to and say, hey, we got a whole weekend in NASCAR. That's awesome. Many other sports do doubleheaders and stuff like that, like baseball. When they have a doubleheader, that's a big event there. People want to go see that doubleheader. So NASCAR, I think, needs to keep the doubleheader, and I think Pocono will be there. And I think NASCAR would be unsmart to do that. Now, for the 4th of July weekend, after Daytona was removed from the 4th of July weekend a few years back, Indianapolis went there, and it kind of just fell short for July 4th weekend. So we went to Road America. And now, the racing. This is what I'm worried about. Was the racing at Road America good? Or did the racing at Road America fall short? And look, this is what I think. I think the racing at Road America fell short. In my video, I hit the brakes because Chase Elliott got way out. But there were some interesting moments. Don't get me wrong. There were some still interesting moments. But I think the racing fell short. So, with that said and with that in mind, the fans did come into attendance. The fans were very patriotic at Road America. It was a 4th of July event, and you knew it was the 4th of July there in Wisconsin. Now, for a second, I thought, well, why don't we replace, if we really want to keep this road course train going, why don't we replace the 4th of July weekend with Watkins Glen? But then I thought, well, Watkins Glen doesn't really come up with, I mean, there's some good NASCAR fans up there, but, you know, I don't think it would be fit very well with the 4th of July. So I keep Road America on the 4th of July if I'm NASCAR. As much as I don't like the road courses, I think that many fans do, and many fans in Wisconsin deserves a date. They deserve an important date. So that's why I think they get the 4th of July. Then I think Atlanta's second date, of course, will follow again, and then Watkins Glen right after that. And now with NBC not having to worry about, you know, the Olympics interrupting, it will follow right after that, Watkins Glen. And then I think New Hampshire will be after Watkins Glen. Then the Indianapolis road course after New Hampshire. Now we got 2 more races, Michigan and Dover. Dover's second date in Michigan, we'll get that as well. With that all said, now we're in the playoffs, and I really didn't change anything up in the playoffs. I kept it basically all the same with my predictions. Darlington, Richmond, Bristol. I think those 3 will still stay in the playoffs. Vegas, Charlotte, Talladega. I shifted that up a little bit. I have Vegas starting, Charlotte being second, and Talladega finishing because, you know, what we saw with Daytona Super Speedway last year, when we saw that final at the regular season and what it did and blew up the playoff bubble, I think it would be a really cool thing to have Talladega blow up the playoff bubble. You know, the road course, that's what they're trying to have with the road course. That's what they're trying to have, like the Charlotte Roval will blow up the playoff bracket. I think having it second is a better spot for it. It might not blow up the playoff bracket, but it might have playoff implications, and having Talladega third could blow up all playoff things. So that's why I would have that on the 3rd, the round of 12. Then the round of 8, I have Texas, but here's where I did something different. I replaced Kansas, which has been in the round of 8 for a while. I replaced it with Homestead. Homestead this year was an absolutely amazing and stunning race. It was very good this year, and it only has 1 date. I think it deserves 2 dates. With that good of racing, it deserves 2 dates. Now, Kansas is such a good track as well, and it always provides good racing. But when I thought about it, it would be tough to knock out one of Kansas's dates, but I think it has to be done. Homestead had good racing. I'm a very big fan of Kansas, but I think Homestead needs to be there, and it needs a second date because of how good that racing was at Homestead. I think it needs a second date on the schedule, so that's why I did that. Of course, then Martinsville and then Phoenix has already been announced that it will be the championship at 2022. I wish NASCAR would go to rotating facilities, but I understand why they're doing it there at Phoenix. It's providing what they want, so that is why they're doing that there. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like, and down below in the comments, drop down what you think about my schedule predictions and what you think the schedule will be all about next year. I am excited. They said 6 to 12 weeks, so many things could change from these predictions in those 6 to 12 weeks, but I love doing these videos. It's a lot of planning, and it's a lot of thinking, critical thinking. What is NASCAR going to want to do? So that is why I love it. We'll see you guys in the next one.